Hello everyone, how we doing? Zed here, back with another battle for youth. This one against a guy by the name of Devildued2, and today I'm using a different team. This was the team that I was in the shower and I was like, you know what? I want to make a trap team. I just want to make a team with things that trap things, and how would I do that? And I kind of was thinking to myself in the shower. So I got out of the shower, went to PO, kind of threw a few things together which I thought would work. And the basic idea behind the team is using, Sizzle and Rotom to use that Volt Turn combination to draw in specific threats, and then either U-turn or Volt Switch into my appropriate check, which will be most likely a Trapper, because I have three of them on the team in the form of Magnezone, Dugtrio, and Wobbuffet. Obviously, all three of those can't cover the entire metagame, so it comes up against problematic threats here and there and again, but at the moment, it's kind of a prototype team, and I like what it's doing. I'm using Ditto on Wi-Fi. I was using Thunderous T on PO. I was kind of trying a lot of different things in that 6th slot, but at the moment, kind of just a working prototype of a team. It's okay at the moment, and it's kind of cool, and it's something I want to develop. But for the moment, I have the team as it is on Wi-Fi, and I lead off with Ditto against his Breloom, transform straight into him, and I'm kind of afraid of him being banded and just going straight for the Mach Punch on the first turn, which I really wouldn't appreciate. So I'm going to go straight into Wobbuffet to hopefully trap him, but he obviously wants to switch out into his Gengar, fearing my Mach Punch, which kind of works out nicely because he is a sub Gengar, and the nice thing about this, obviously, he can't switch out against Wobbuffet. I've got him trapped. So either he's going to be forced to go to the Shadow Ball and risk a Light Screen back on him, or he's going to go for the Substitute and risk an Encore. He goes for the Substitute, I managed to Encore him into it, go straight to Rotom, and at this point I can go to Rotom, be slower than him, because he's obviously, Gengar's faster than Rotom naturally, and I'm not Scarfed, so he Substitute, which is kind of useless because he's already subbed, and I can Volt Switch out to break his sub, and now go into something to threaten him, which is going back to my Ditto, transforming straight into the Gengar, and having Shadow Ball at the ready to kind of push him out of the way with. So that's nice, and I'm looking in a relatively strong position. I should have thought about this move a bit more, though, because he does have a Scizor on his team, and there is the potential for Scizor to carry Pursuit, so I could have been a bit more wary about that. If Scizor had Pursuit, would have been a little bit more screwed, because he would have easily been able to take Ditto out right here, as I switch my guy out. Thankfully, he's not running that set. He's running a Swords Dance set, which is actually using, obviously, Bug Bite and some other stuff, Bullet Punch, and I'm not sure whether he's going to have Roost or whether he's going to have another move, but I go into Wobbuffet, nonetheless, thinking I could probably take a hit of some kind, and I can't, because he Swords Dances, then Bug Bites me. I for some reason thought I could take a +2 Bug Bite. He doesn't have Life Orb, so I thought it may be okay, but apparently not going to work out. I am going to go into really the best thing to take on Scizor at this point, which is Magnezone, because I can trap him straight in here. He can't get out of here. He doesn't have U-turn. He has Bug Bite instead, and I see Superpower, which I was kind of, weirded out by, because most of the time they carry Roost, these kind of Scizors, as opposed to Superpower, because Swords Dance plus Superpower doesn't really fit the mold that well. I guess the reason you'd have it is for things like Magnezone, but when I have a Magnezone that is able to outspeed Scizor, it really isn't much of a problem for me. At this point, he's at about 75% health, so if HP Fire from max special attack should easily be able to clean him out. I just really wanted to get up a Substitute just to have one to be behind, so that I could threaten anything else that wanted to come in. He has a lot of big threats on his team, so that's what I did. He ends up Swords Dancing after Superpowering, I guess, not really knowing what I was going to do, but I decided to sub, and then outspeed him on next turn, kill him with an HP Fire. So I'm in a really nice footing here. He has a Salamence, which I guess could be quite annoying, and I'm not quite sure what set it's going to be. So it's very nice that I have the Substitute up, because I'm allowed to scout his set at the moment, see whether he's physical or special, and kind of gauge it from there to see how much Thunderbolt does, whether he's a bulky Ment, and it does a decent amount. I'm thinking he's just a standard sort of physically based Ment. I don't see Life Orb, so I'm not kind of sure what kind of thing it's carrying it. Maybe, Yachi or something weird like that, but I think he's probably going to go for another Earthquake, so I go into Ditto to obviously transform into him, and therefore dodge that Earthquake. Unfortunately for me, he's running a Dragon Dance set, which means that he's going to get up the +1 speed. Now, at this point, we're both the same speed, so it is coming down to a speed tie, because I have the Choice Scarf and he has the +1, and I don't really want to risk the speed tie, so what I opt to do instead is to go straight to Scizor, knowing I can take any kind of Dragon move, and then after that, if it was Outrage, he'd be locked in there, take him out out on the Bullet Punch. Dragon Claw I can take even better, and if he doesn't want to switch, then I can Bullet Punch and finish him off, which is exactly what happens. And if he did want to switch to Skarmory, I could have easily switched straight out from Sizzle into Magnezone on that turn, and Skarmory would have been out of the way. But as it happens, I managed to kill the Salamence anyway. Skarmory comes in anyway, and Magnezone comes in again, being able to go for the Thunderbolt. The unfortunate thing about this, of course, is that he has Sturdy, so I'm not going to be able to one-shot him, though I do bring him down and paralyze him, and I actually get the full para on this turn as well. So that works out really nicely. And I do something here which I wouldn't have done otherwise. I decide to go for the substitute, just preying on the fact that he may get para-haxed on this turn. Obviously, there's the fact that he could whirlwind me out, but I'm thinking, you know, maybe I should push my luck a little bit. Having Magnezone behind a sub has seemed to work so far this game, so I'm thinking I should try and push it a bit more. Unfortunately, doesn't get paralyzed, managed to whirlwind me out, but, you know, in all goodness, I get whirlwinded out into the perfect thing, which is, of course, Rotom, and Rotom can Volt Switch straight on the Skarmory. Take him straight out, and I'm looking pretty nice here. I mean, I still have my Dugtrio left, not even touched yet. I think I still have my Scizor, and some good stuff is going on. So I'm going to go to Scizor straight away, because it's probably the most threatening thing I have on my team, sort of offensively. And, you know, Breloom is another thing which I'm kind of scared of. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go out into my Magnezone as Death Fodder. At this point, it has really done its job. It's taken out Scizor, and it's taken out Skarmory, so it's really dealt with the threats that it was there to deal with in the first place. Don't really need it, and Breloom is going to, you know, destroy it. So I'm going to get rid of it, let him sort of lock himself into Mach Punch there. And then my sort of plan to stop Breloom here is to go straight into Rotom, go for the Will-O-Wisp to burn him, hopefully not miss, and I don't. And at this point, his Breloom is kind of useless, because now that I have the status effect on him, his attack is pretty much lowered to not very much. He probably won't be able to take me out with a second Mach Punch, which is what I'm banking on, and then on this following turn, I can go for the Pain Split, not only bringing myself back up from 21 to around half HP, but also limiting his HP down to below the line. So, great stuff. I'm back in the green. Rotom's looking good, and his Breloom is pretty much dead at this point. So I think, you know, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the Mach Punch because I know I can take one now that he's burned, and I'm going to go for the Volt Switch. If it doesn't take him out, then I know that it'll do enough damage to the point at which Burn will. So it happens that way. He goes down into the red, and Breloom is easily going to be finished off with the Burn. So I'm going to go straight into my my guy here, who's Ditto, and transform into him. And this is kind of premature of me, simply because he still has Gengar left. So I guess Ditto wasn't the best thing to go into, but I know I need to keep Ditto simply because he still has the Gengar, so I want to transform back into him in order to threaten him, essentially. So I switch out to my Rotom. He knows that I can't touch him with his Breloom set, so he's going to switch out into his Ditto. Now, if I had stayed in there and gone for, like, the Bullet Seed or whatever, I would have been in a much better position, because his Ditto would not have been able to transform into my Ditto, because once a Ditto is transformed, you can't have another Ditto transforming into the transformed form of the Ditto, and that is a complicated sentence, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you that for free. No matter, though, because what happens is he transforms into my Rotom. He does kill it with a Volt Switch and goes out into Gengar, but this brings up the perfect opportunity for me to go straight into my own Gengar, go for the Shadow Ball, and at this point, he can't really do anything, because even if he switches his Ditto in, that thing is going to not be able to do anything to me, because I am a Ditto myself. So, he's going to let his Gengar die, and really, I know that I can't switch out here, because if I switch out, his Ditto is going to get a free transform on the switch. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going to waste Shadow Balls until I get down to Struggle, until I eventually kill myself from Struggle, and then after that I can go into Dugtrio and Earthquake him for the kill. See, if I'd gone straight to Dugtrio, he would have been able to transform into my Dugtrio, and then been able to do stuff against me, which I wouldn't have really been able to do anything to, because had I switched my Ditto back into his transformed Ditto, which would have then at that point been my Dugtrio, it wouldn't be able to transform because it's a Ditto that's already transformed on his side. Complicated things, I know. Hopefully you guys got all of that. Relatively complicated battle, which I kind of shoved into a short time space. Sorry about that. I'm kind of just going like the clapper today. But there you go. That's the game. I hope you guys really enjoyed this one. I'm very much sort of enamored with this team and the idea of this team in general. So hopefully I'm going to be able to build on it and do some more matches with the team and see how it goes. But for now, it would be very much appreciated if you leave me a like on the video. That would be excellent. I would very much like you to do that, lol. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.